Right, show us them instructions again, love. Right. Not while standing all over the tent. Right. Determine the square root of Vader's helmet divided by the length and diameter of a lightsaber using the force as an equilibrium. And then insert pole A into pole B. Right. Yes. Oh, what? Oh, come on. We've all been there, ladies and gents. It's 4 PM, the sun is setting, and your partner is already hungry. And you're stood in the middle of a field, holding a piece of galvanised steel, wondering why pole A won't fit into section C. Camping is meant to be about nature, not structural engineering. And that's why today we're taking a look at the Canvas Tent Shop 2.5 metre airbeam bell tent. It's a bell tent. It's constructed from Oxford fabric, but it has zero, and I mean zero, poles. Now we're going to approach this video from two directions today. First of all, we're going to view this tent from the perspective of a happy camping family, where you're going to be using this from the back of your boot. Weight isn't an issue. We're going to be using the supplied pump, pegs and the tent as it comes. Second of all, if you hang around till the end of the video, we are going to make some alterations and additions to this tent to make it more practical and portable for the wandering bushcrafter. So let's crack on with getting into the tent. So the bag, as I've come to expect from the Canvas Tent Shop, is very sturdy, very nice zips, and altogether very nice quality. We have a couple of buckles. The zip is very nice. Now, as the tent comes supplied to you, the total package weight is 10 kilograms. That includes the supplied manual pump, a bag of steel pegs, and the tent itself. Let's show you how easy this is to set up. So that's first step achieved, ladies and gents. We have 8 guy out points around the base and some adjustable straps. Just put your pegs in loosely on them. We can cinch them up afterwards and tension the tent out after that. Next, what we want to do is locate the pump housing, which is in the sleeve next to the door. And then we can screw the pump onto them threads. So as you can see there, that did not take long at all, and I'd say probably less than 30 pumps to get the air beams fully inflated. Quick tip though, when you're first putting this tent up, inside the air beams are secured by Velcro sleeves, so undo them first, otherwise you will experience kinks in the air beams. You'll have to go inside like I did and sort them out. So all that remains to do now is go around the tent, guide the rest of the guy lines out, cinch up the Velcro straps, pretty much done. So she's up, ladies and gents, the airbeam bell tent from the Canvas Tent Shop. Now, coming in at 2.5 metres, this is more like the cute studio apartment of the glamping world. She's constructed from 210D Oxford fabric, meaning she's very breathable, but she does feature a 2000mm hydrostatic head. She's also been rock-proofed and UV resistant treated. Now, on first inspection, you may be thinking, she's very white, and you are correct. This is a very bright tent. Now, she wouldn't look out of place on a camping field amongst other tents, and the colour of this fabric is going to pay dividends on a very hot sunny day when this fabric will reflect a lot of that sunlight, keeping the remaining space inside cool. Now let's talk about the airbeam system utilised by this tent. So instead of a heavy centre pole that you inevitably walk into in the middle of the night, this tent actually uses high pressure inflated tubes to keep the tent erect. Yeah, look at that, just like magic. So it takes around 2 minutes of pumping to get the tent fully inflated, which is great cardio and a great workout for your triceps, or if you're like me, a great way to realise just how out of shape you are. So welcome to the inner sanctum, and again at 2.5 metres, you're not going to be throwing a rave in here anytime soon. This is definitely designed with the cosy couple in mind, maybe the kids as a pup tent, or the solo bushcrafter or wild camper. And if you're 6'5", you are going to be living your life vertically. I'm not 6'5". Interior of the tent does include all the features you'd expect to find in a bell tent. We have 4 zipped half moon windows that are meshed, 2 gear pockets, a couple of loops, and we also have a hanger for a light or other gear at the top. The beams do feel very, very sturdy. The floor is a 150D Oxford fabric zipped in ground sheet, so you're getting no nasties in here when you close the doors. We've also got mesh and fabric doors on the front as well. Now, one feature this does support, which is also included on my larger 5 metre canvas bell tent from Canvas Tent Shop, is you can zip the walls all the way around and actually use this as a fly and a ground sheet, just to increase that ventilation a lot more. It's a nice feature, and I've used it once or twice myself. Now, one thing I'd like to remark on is just how light and airy it is inside the tent. So the doors have been closed throughout duration of filming, and the temperature outside is around 22 degrees, but inside the tent is extremely cool, and that just shows how effective the tent fabric is at reflecting that light and heat. Now, again, the tent is white. You're not going to keep that clean forever, but with the fabric being that 210 Oxford, it is easy to wipe off with a damp cloth. But inevitably, you know, these tents are going to get a bit mucky over time. Now let's go over the pros and cons regarding this tent, and the first one for me is a big one, and that is build quality and construction. So the build quality of this tent is what I've come to expect from the Canvas Tent Shop, and this brand is truly one I've learnt to trust over the years. We actually spent 8 weeks living in one of their larger 5 metre bell tents during hardship, and during that time we had 0 issues in gale force winds, torrential rain. The tent survives, and we still use it every camp, every year. Bonus number 2, because the airbeam follows the actual curvature of the tent, it is surprisingly spacious inside, although it does look quite compact from the outside. Third bonus are these zip down windows, so while you're currently not getting soaked by the rain, you can actually watch it nice and dry from inside the tent. Bonus number 4, so the airbeam bell tent is currently on sale at the Canvas Tent Shop for £219 UK, which I think is absolutely amazing, and absolutely no money for this tent. It does look like the cutest little boutique you've ever seen. You got the traditional looks of the bell tent and the functionality of that airbeam system. Now, unfortunately, we do have a couple of cons. They are very insignificant, but you know, they're worth mentioning. First of all, this is a crawling tent, not a walking tent. So if you are of taller stature, you are going to be on your hands and knees. Kids will be all right in there, probably just ducking under, but for me and you, we're going to be crawling on our hands and knees in there. Now that's all right after a session, and you're on your knees anyway, half cut, you know, you'll have no problem getting in there, but yeah. Second con, again for many, is going to be the colour. Now this is the first version of this tent, and I've spoke to Ashley, and he said if he can stir up some interest, and I believe these are selling well at the minute, they will consider other colours in this fabric. I think a green and a brown would be nice in this as well, and maybe for the girls, maybe I like a little teal or a pink. Right, ladies and gents, so now it's time for me to show you just how we can make this tent a little lighter and a little more compact for easier travel. Right, so unfortunately, these small changes are going to incur an extra cost for the end user, but the first change we're going to make is we're going to swap out the manual pump, which is just not feasible to be carrying about with the tent, for this. Now this is the Outdoor Revolution. I think this is a 10 psi electric pump. This is more than sufficient enough to inflate those air beams. This is going to cost you an extra 50 quid, maybe 45 if you shop around, but this is 500 grams, much smaller as well, so you can fit that in your backpack if you plan on buying this to use in the wild. Second change we're going to make, we're going to swap out the steel tent pegs for some lovely lightweight aluminium. Now these are only probably half the weight of the steel, but a weight saving is a weight saving at the end of the day. The third change you could probably make yourself, again at an incurred cost, is to swap out the nylon guy ropes that are fitted to the tent currently. You could add some nice Dyneema there, some nice ultra lightweight Dyneema, and that again is another weight saving. Now as for the brighter than white looks of the tent, that can easily be remedied by using one of these. This is a camo net. These are relatively cheap, scrunched down to nothing, and weigh practically nothing as well. Now one, that did not take me 18 attempts to get that over there, and you can't prove it. Two, admittedly, one ain't going to get you the coverage, but two will definitely do it. But it breaks the colour of that up nicely. And I think in a densely wooded area, maybe in the corner somewhere, that'd pass. So I'm going to make an educated wish that the majority of bushcrafters out there will recognise this bag and know exactly what tent belongs to this bag. In fact, I'll go as far to say as the tent that belongs to this bag is legendary in the realm of the bushcraft communities. Any ideas? So the tent that belongs to this bag is the legendary Dutch Army tent. Now that tent weighs in excess of 7.5 to 8 kilograms with the poles that come with it, depending on what version you've got. I've got the Mark II, so 8 kilograms. And I know bushcrafters that will willingly and readily carry that tent out into the wild for miles just to use that tent. Now if we can get this tent down to say around 6.5 to 6 kilo, maybe even less, I reckon that would make a fantastic bushcraft wild camp tent to take out into the wild, weighing less than this. But the reason I'm showing you this bag is regarding the portability of that tent. So what we're going to do now is perform a magic trick using the electric pump. We brought a vacuum seal bag. We're going to pop that tent in there and suck out enough life for it to fit in this bag. Right, I'm hoping that's in shot. So what we've got here is a vacuum bag, a vacuum seal bag. So what we're going to do is take the tent as it is, feed the bag around it, hoping there's no sharp sticks. Then we're going to very carefully seal the bag up. There we go. So the nice thing about this pump is it does have an inflation and suction function. So we can take the cap off the bag here, and then we're going to use the supplied fitting. That goes on there, and then we just activate the pump. I must say this is an absolutely fantastic pump. A bit expensive at 50 quid, but it's built for inflating all your awnings, airbeds, tents, all that sort of stuff. And I believe you get around 40 minutes of charge out of it. And there we have it. The end result is a very flat airbeam tent. And I dare say that pump would have pulled more air out of there if we'd have given it time, but all we have to do now, give this a squash just to give it the shape we're after, and then we can slip it in that bag. Right, it's a moment of truth. Oh, like a glove. There we go, ladies and gents, and we've got a nice horseshoe shape in there should you choose to put the pump in and any other bits. And that is now much more portable and easier to carry, thanks to Beck 78073 and 3 more numbers that I'm not going to disclose. Awesome. So, final thoughts on the Canvas Tent Shop 2.5 metre airbeam bell tent. Is it perfect? So if you're a very tall person, you're going to struggle getting in and out of that tent. Also, it's a manual pump, so if you forget the pump, you've got no tent. You've got a very expensive picnic blanket. So don't be that person who forgets the pump, because your reputation at camp will never recover. If you want the Instagram aesthetic of a bell tent, but you've got the patience of a child and the boot space of a Mini Cooper, then the Canvas Tent Shop 2.5 metre airbeam bell tent is perfect. It's sturdy, it's stylish, but most importantly, it won't end your marriage when you're setting it up. Check the link down in the description to see if the tent is in stock, and also subscribe to the channel so you can see the tent being used in a future video at the Bushcraft show by me and the missus. I'll also be taking the tent out myself on 1 or 2 wild camp adventures, so again, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. I truly hope you've enjoyed this video and the first look at Canvas Tent Shop's first airbeam bell tent. Until the next one, you stay safe, and as always, stay crafty. See you again, guys. Bye bye.